Hello and welcome to the first ever weather update here on Fitz's forecast. We're going to be taking a look here at a catastrophic flooding period here that is definitely on the cards and is possible, highlighted by the Weather Prediction Center here overnight across Alabama and Georgia. We're going to be taking a look at a pretty significant to potentially catastrophic flash flooding corridor, especially highlighted in that high risk area from east central Alabama going into western Georgia. We're going to be taking a look at a high risk here outlined by the Weather Prediction Center for excessive rainfall in terms of the overall magnitude of what we could be seeing in terms of flash flooding potential. We're going to be taking a look here at localized catastrophic flash flooding being possible, especially across that corridor from around east central Alabama going into western Georgia. Heavy rainfall is likely within these areas. It could potentially go upwards of 2 to 4 inches. Flash flooding is also likely. You also want to make sure that you get to higher ground immediately if under any sort of flash flood warning in general. It's going to be really crucial that in the overnight time you have a way to receive flash flood warnings. You also need to make sure that you do not drive in flooded areas where water covers the road. So some of the major cities that are underneath this high risk level 4 to 4 by the Weather Prediction Center include Birmingham, Alabama, Atlanta, Georgia, Montgomery, Alabama, and then you have areas just to the south of the moderate risk, getting up to the moderate risk area towards Tuscaloosa. Birmingham is just on the fringe of that moderate risk, so Birmingham could also see some decently significant flash flooding. As you go off towards the east, your flash flooding threat does wane in severity, but is still very dangerous in general. We're going to be taking a look at a focused corridor, a pretty widespread corridor of flash flooding being possible, if not likely, for the southeast United States going into the overnight period and going into early morning today, March 27th, 2023. There also is a marginal risk across portions of the Ozarks going into the upper Ohio River Valley, stretching from southern Illinois into southern Indiana, going into southeastern Missouri, uh, in the St. Louis vicinity. Up there, really not going to be taking a look at too much of a flash flooding for just isolated flash flooding within that marginal risk. Taking a look at the latest Weather Prediction Center mesoscale guidance, especially across Alabama and western Georgia, you can see that hatched focused corridor there, basically highlighting the potential for localized catastrophic flash flooding possible in areas with saturated soils tonight through the overnight period. This is going to be a pretty significant corridor here, especially where conditions, saturated soil conditions, are the most deteriorated. You can see that a 40 to 50 knot low level jet is forecasted to materialize over the region, and as that low level jet does begin to kick in, um, storms will basically train along a line. Basically, training thunderstorms are going to train all across these general corridors here of east central Alabama and into western Georgia, which is going to continue to dump very heavy rainfall over the area. And given where saturated soil conditions are the most deteriorated, we could be seeing some potentially catastrophic flash flooding overnight, which is really, really dangerous and can really put your life in extreme danger if you do not have a way to actually receive watches and warnings in terms of flash flooding. And if you are put under any flash flood warning, even a flash flood emergency, your main goal is to seek higher ground immediately, despite your current situation. If you are currently sleeping, if you were currently sleeping and you do not take heed to these warnings and you're put underneath one, you really need to have a way to receive watches and warnings for flash flooding potential. Because if you get caught in flooded waters in these kinds of situations, you may be putting your life at risk. So it's definitely a consideration to put there in terms of overall preparedness. Taking a look at the 72-hour rainfall guidance here, basically going into tomorrow or this evening here, as this is being recorded at around midnight Eastern time on the 27th, which is going to be today, you can really see that a widespread area of heavy rainfall has fallen across much of the southeast United States, extending into the mid South and Ohio Valley here over the past few days. And more rainfall is expected to fall, especially across the southeast, where we're going to be seeing a line of training thunderstorms that are going to be training across the area here as the system does move off the east coast going into Tuesday here. There also is a slight risk level 2 out of 4 for the day 2 excessive rainfall outlook here across northern Alabama and northern Georgia, extending off towards portions of the Carolinas. So this is going to be a multi-day continued threat, but especially this evening and overnight where we could see catastrophic flooding, especially across that focus corridor of east central Alabama and western Georgia. We could pretty much see widespread areas of around 1.5 to 2 inches of rainfall are have been modeled here by the National Weather Service. You can also see that a focused corridor there, especially across where the training thunderstorms are going to be pretty much consistently forming and moving over that general area, is where you could be seeing upwards of around 2.5 to even 3.5 inches of rainfall. I know the Weather Prediction Center is forecasting around 2 to 4 inches of rainfall being likely, especially across those focused corridors there in that high risk region. This was upgraded to a high risk at the 01Z time frame. So this is going to be a really, really significant flash flooding event here, especially across that focused corridor there in that high risk vicinity. And you can see with the training thunderstorms here, what I mean in terms of training thunderstorms, you can see that these supercell thunderstorms and pretty much a multi-mode of more of a messier mode here in terms of clustering thunderstorms and supercells are really going to train like, multiple different clusters of supercells, Boeing segments, and all kinds of multi-mode messes of storms are going to be really training across the southeast United States going into the evening and early morning time frame. And what this is going to do is it's going to dump very heavy rainfall across these areas, and especially across areas where saturated soil conditions are the greatest, or aren't the greatest, and especially across that high risk area is where we're going to be seeing a more increased threat of very significant and life-threatening flash flooding, especially catastrophic flash flooding, explicitly stated by the WPC themselves across that focused corridor there, stretching from Montgomery to Columbus off towards Macon, Georgia, just west of Macon, Georgia. And finally, to close out this flash flooding update here from Fitz's forecast, we're basically going to provide you a graphic here that was created by NWS Mobile to basically give you some flash flooding safety tips that you can use for these kinds of situations. So what you want to do is you want to turn around and do not drown. Rapid flowing streams or ditches can sweep you off your feet and your vehicle downstream. You want to remain alert if you live in a flood prone area. You also want to move to higher ground if flooding threatens and use caution at night. You also want to make sure that you stay out of flooded areas because water may still be rising and very swift. You do not want to allow children to play in or around flowing water, and floodwaters can hide rocks, trees, and debris. And this was a graphic here, courtesy of National Weather Service Mobile. Thank you for watching this first update here on the Fitz's Forecast channel. We intend to provide you multiple more updates in the near future, and please do share and like these videos, as it's going to be really important that you do indeed spread the word out. In addition to basically letting your loved ones and relatives know of what threats or what hazards could be affecting them on a daily basis as we move into a pretty active period here of flash flooding and severe potential. Later on today, I do plan on posting a severe weather update video. That should be coming out in the later hours here. Coming out at the pretty much like the end of the day. So we're gonna be taking a look at the prolonged multi-day severe weather threat that is setting up across southern and central plains as well. But thank you for tuning in to this flash flooding update here, provided by Fitz's forecast, and we hope to see you in the next update. Thanks for watching.